this way. Crime intelligence head Dumisani Kumalo set to take the stand at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. His name has come up repeatedly, mostly during testimony from KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Kumalo is facing fraud as well as corruption charges following his June arrest, but Mkhwanazi says this is just a smokescreen and part of a smear campaign aimed at stopping Kumalo's investigation into a criminal syndicate involving Gauteng drug cartels. My colleague Iman Repeti joining us live from the steps, just off the steps of the seat of government. It wasn't so far away from where you were a moment ago, but now back outside the Bridget Mabandla Justice College. A pivotal day here, Iman. Good morning again.
And lucky we did so, because thunder and lightning, the heavens opening here in the city of Tshwane. And to take our cue from the weather, so to speak, Arabile, will there be a flood of evidence here at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry on day 8? Dumisani Kumalo in, I don't want to say in the dock, I mean the pictures we've been sharing to our viewers are of him in the dock appearing on those fraud and corruption charges, and that's also going to be part of our conversation with Eldred de Klerk this morning. Eldred, we can hear, again, you know, there's a great deal of sound and energy here in terms of the weather. The testimony that we're expecting from Dumisani Kumalo is interesting today because he's meant to fill in the gaps on what we've already heard Masemola and Mkhwanazi say, but he does it as a man who already has a cloud of his own hanging over his head.
Absolutely, and yes, it's fitting and telling then that we had a rainstorm and cloudburst over us, because who knows where the testimony goes today. The big problem with his testimony is that if it doesn't stick to the functioning of the PKTT, of the political killings task team, and it starts to go into the area of his own personal challenges, unless those two overlap. Remember, he has an active court case, and I think it's going to be the judge and the evidence leaders that's going to try to walk that fine line between him not incriminating himself, potentially, but then simply clarifying the questions that he's been asked to come and clarify, because everybody who's given testimony to date, especially General Mkhwanazi, has made it clear that it's going to be Lieutenant General Kumalo that's going to come and provide a further level of detail and the evidence to the things that he's put in front of the Commission.
And actually, because he's so close to this, I mean, he is essentially the operational head of the PKTT, is our understanding. So he's close to those investigations, knows what the networks is that have been alluded to actually consist of, the dimension of those. His testimony is vital and crucial. But others are questioning what would seem to be a double standard, or what appears to them as a double standard of a man who's been arrested, charged, who's out on bail, but hasn't lost his job or isn't under on special leave or on suspension.
Those are questions that I think unfortunately, General Masemola has to answer, because ultimately he's the person who has to place his senior staff member on special leave. And if the integrity of the individual tasked with leading the political killings task team is already under question, it may cast a doubt or a shadow over his testimony.
The thing is, though, this is what Mkhwanazi and others have already said at the beginning, that his charges are related to the investigations of the PKTT, their successes, the names and evidence that they've uncovered, and that was a move to neutralize him. So let's go back then to the evidence of what we might hear in, again, closing and filling out that story around political interference and the protection of key players when it comes to corruption.
That's right. Apparently he has information and evidence to suggest that there are public representatives and political figures who are close to criminal cartels, and it's in their interest that the work of the PKTT is wanting to be thwarted or even ended. He needs to bring that evidence now. He also has to talk about the successes of the PKTT, but also give us very specific understanding between the cases that they were pursuing and the relationship with people whose names have already been mentioned. And those people will then have to listen and see if they be further implicated, and there is a story for them to come and answer to. And he's the one who will have to bring that evidence over the next day or two.
Let's get more on the modalities of the commission today. Our junior Kumalo is where I was earlier. I'm hoping so, and I hope he's dry. Junior, just talk to us about what our viewers can expect from the commission today.
Indeed, Iman, we are still at the Union buildings, and it is pouring here at the Union buildings right now. But we do expect that the Crime Intelligence head, Dumisani Kumalo, is going to be appearing before the Madlanga Commission. As you already spoken about it, we do expect him to bring in those intricate details, especially as someone who was at the helm of that political killings task team. There's been a lot that has been said by especially the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal about the workings of this political killings task team. Not only just those instructions by the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu to disband the political killings task team and how that affected the workings of the task team, as well as the dockets that were taken away from that political task team, but also the workings between the task team and the NPA in KwaZulu-Natal. On Friday, we did hear information from the head of the NPA in KwaZulu-Natal. She basically spoke about how Dumisani Kumalo had actually written to her indicating his disapproval of the manner in which some of the prosecutors within the NPA in KwaZulu-Natal were handling some of the matters that had been completed by the political killings task team. This actually led to a bit of friction between the NPA, the prosecutors in particular, as well as the political killings task team. According to the head of the NPA, the political killings task team ended up opening documents and investigating some of those prosecutors because they believed that they were stalling some of these cases that were already investigated. But also there was that move by the National Deputy Commissioner, who actually took some of the dockets of that political killings task team that was headed by Kumalo, took them to the head office of the SAPS here in Gauteng, which basically affected the workings of the political killings task team because some of the cases were already on the court roll but still needed a lot more investigations to happen. So we believe that Kumalo is going to bring in some of that evidence on how this taking away of the 121 dockets really affected the workings of the political killings task team. There was then later that instruction by Mchunu to basically disband with immediate effect the political killings task team. We've heard from Mkwanazi speaking about how this has basically led to the reduction in terms of the personnel, but also the money that is going to the workings of that task team. So this has basically had a lot of impact when it comes to the workings of the task team. So as the individual who was at the helm of that political killings task team, we do expect that he is going to bring forward maybe some of the data to show the commission how this had an impact. Also, Mchunu, in that letter on the 31st, when he was disbanding the political killings task team, he said that there was no longer a need for the political killings task team. So to put that question to the head of the task team to say, was there a need? Was it still working well? So those are some of the questions that we do expect the commission to basically ask the task team. But let's take a listen to what Mkwanazi had to say about the role of Kumalo when it comes to the workings of this political killings task team.
Kumalo had landed in the province of KwaZulu-Natal at the time, deployed with myself to go and act in the province, but not for the task team specific. So, but when this reconfiguration or the strategy was developed for the team, he was then assigned to be part of that team when he started. So he was playing his role under leadership of Major General Matswele, and subsequent to that, Major General retired. And then Kumalo, at the time, had been promoted to a rank of Major General. He was then given the responsibility to be the one who then assumed the role that Major General Matswele was performing of leading the team in the province. From the intelligence gathering commissioners, I'm informed that Madlanga did provide a proof of his invoice that was submitted, and the payment that was supposed to be made to him from the SAPS contract that he had with the South African Police Service to be expedited. And after that, Mokgotsi sends a screenshot of his conversation with the Minister Mchunu, including that he plans to have a meeting with the Deputy National Commissioner General Sibia and the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, to discuss the finalization of Kumalo and General Mkhwanazi matters. This is a conversation they are having, the two of them.
The KZN Provincial Police Commissioner there, Iman, basically speaking about how he suspects that the arrest of Kumalo was basically linked to the work that he was actually doing, and it had nothing to do with the allegations that he is currently facing. Towards the end of Friday's proceedings, we did hear the chairperson of the commission, Madlanga, basically asking whether Kumalo will be able to attend proceedings today, because there was expected that he is going to be in court for that particular court case of fraud in relation to the use of the money within the intelligence and crime services. So those were some of the issues that we are expecting today to be ventilated before the commission. But back to you in studio now, Iman.
Junior, thanks for that, and you will give us updates throughout the course of the morning leading into the start of that commission. Eldred, let's bring it back to you, to the other shock development over the weekend, and this is the news that we got about the Chief Evidence Leader, Advocate Terry Motau, reportedly making that request to leave. I want us to err on the side of sagacity and not sensation in trying to evaluate whether this is a sign of something that we should be concerned, if he's feeling compelled to step down this early, because this is a politically sensitive issue, and we know that these issues are fraught. How much might this affect the work of the Commission? Very tight deadlines here.
Well, absolutely. And the Commission had started out by the judge explaining that they're going to be as transparent as possible. Leaving this to speculation and to guesswork might undermine the actual commission process. If all of us are thinking our reasons of our own as to why the chief evidence leader, it's not the evidence leader, it's the chief evidence leader, has asked for leave, to leave the commission. Even though we know that there are competent other advocates and lawmakers, there's a credible judge that's in place. The process itself to date has been quite transparent. We now need, again, for the Commission to take us into their confidence and say, is this a personal matter? Does it relate to the work of the... We can understand if it's personal, we let that go. If it relates to the work of the Commission, we need to know how. And if he himself, as the evidence leaders, feel that he cannot pursue this because it might put his family and others at risk, that would be a concern. Not only because we've been talking about whistleblowers and witnesses be protecting, and we also knew from other institutions that those who guide these processes themselves, their work might be want to be undermined by, erroneous testimony, uncorroborated, false claims, all kinds of things. But now we know, but it may also extend to the people involved in the process. That would be very concerning. And as a country, I think it would already cast some sort of cloud over the Commission at this early stage of its life.
A cloud we do not need in these circumstances, as you say, and especially at such a critical juncture. So, Arabile, there is a great deal that we need to consider in going into this testimony today. Some of those questions and concerns we have already addressed, but we do need a 100% ironclad clarity from the Commission itself on the circumstances surrounding the potential for Terry Motau, the chief evidence leader, as Eldred has reminded us, for his potential to exit these proceedings and the impact it might have going forward. On that note, we are back to you, and we will continue to share some analysis and remind our viewers, as well as Junior has, what's already been said at this commission with respect to this potentially bombshell testimony we're expecting to hear today.
Yeah, we'll head back to you, Iman, a little bit later on in the show. But